Thursday, bud. Win some, you lose some. I don't.
Hey, it's
I don't
Thursday.
like. Before I came on, I hate losing West Coast games. Like
Yeah, it's tough
not
waking up like
sleeping
that.
well is the worst. Like the difference between a sleep after like a 5-unit day or a 3-unit loss is incredible. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Oh God.
Hear me now?
There he is. Oh, I thought I was going solo.
For some reason, I was on mute. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I said the opposite of that is waking up in the middle of the night, checking your bets, and them all cashing. Then you sleep a lot better.
That's what I mean. That's a great sleep. The difference between those two sleeps is significant. So last night wasn't a great sleep, wasn't a great finish. Connecting didn't get the points. Philadelphia had the shots. They just couldn't break
Yeah, it
through.
was a weird one.
Yeah.
It was a weird one.
Yeah. And I mean, we got rookie goaltender Patera in net for Vegas, right? Like Aiden Hill was like first one off the ice, was going to play, and I'm like, that's where the line was, and I was still happy with it. And then I probably
Didn't work out. Yeah, Vegas just decided that they weren't going to show up yesterday in that St. Air in Colorado.
And we got the double power play points, but we didn't get a single Makar point out of that. So we move on to today. Good day to everybody there in the chat. Adam, baby, what's up? Favorite prop of the day? Got a few here. I'll be honest with you, as I'm a guy who's a top-down approach when it comes to NHL betting, which means it's more looking at the numbers. Bottom up is where someone has projections and stuff like that. These big slates, there's so much.
I know, it's
there's
tough.
So much out there.
It's tough.
So we got to find some angles. First game we go to Ottawa Buffalo. Let's get to the first one where we go with our buddy, a man of many names, JJ Peterka, over 2.5 shots on goal, minus 105. This is a great shot on goal matchup on both sides. Jeff Skinner is questionable. And although it looks like Victor Olofsson's going to jump up to the top line, JJ Peterka has been solid on that second line, PP2, and he faces a team bottom 6 in shot attempts per 60 since December 1st. This last matchup, Carlos, 77 total shots, 46 from Buffalo. He's third on the team in shot attempts. He just doesn't get as many minutes as the big boys. Same price as we got him versus Montreal, which is important because we're not paying anything extra. What can we expect from the Sabres in this spot, possibly without Skinner, and facing an Ottawa team with just 8 goals over his last 4 games, which are all losses?
Yeah, this is a very intriguing matchup because this is a game between two teams that prior to the season, everybody expected to be closer to a playoff team, and they're not. If anything, they're closer to being a bottom of the team in the league than they are a playoff team. And it's tough to handicap a matchup like this because you don't really know what type of team you're going to get on each night. With Ottawa, we know they can score. We know they have trouble defending, but the other night in Calgary, they played a really solid 40 minutes, and then in the third period, they gave up 4 goals. Yeah. The Buffalo Sabres, they play on nights like they can beat the best teams in the league, and then when they get a favorable matchup the night of the next game, they look like the worst team in the league. So we really don't know what we're going to get here other than unpredictability. And when you have unpredictability, you've got a game with two teams that you know they can score and you know they can't defend. So you try to find those markets.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we are, just predicting a lot of shots in this game. So Peterka looks like the best side on Buffalo to take over 2.5 shots on goal, minus 105. And then on the other side, we wanted to piece the other action because Buffalo can give it up too. And recently, Ottawa's been firing the puck, and that's what happens. We talk about it when your team is losing and you're not scoring goals. Maybe the quality of shot kind of goes down, and you're just kind of getting things on net and hoping to get one to I don't know, break the mold, so to say. But let's go. Big minutes, Thomas Chabot, over 2.5 shots on goal, plus 115. I'm just a sucker for Thomas Chabot. And we listened to you when you mentioned the fact that guys like him, they come back from injury, big minute guys, maybe take some time to ramp up. But I think we're at that point with Chabot. Maybe I think this is game 6 or game 7 since the break. But you're not looking at a guy who plays 27 minutes a game in a game that could be wide open defensively on both sides. He does play some PK too. We know we talked about getting a few shots on that, but there's a lot to like here at this price. Let's hit this. Shabbat, what do you think about Ottawa here in this spot? And I mean, Shabbat, Artem Zub could be out, so there could be even more minutes for a horse and minute muncher.
Well, with Shabbat and any other of the top players on Ottawa, it's about leading now. This team is in disarray. They've been exposed to so much negativity around them, and a lot of it has to do with their results and obviously the coaching change and stuff like that. So when you're looking for a spark in the team, you look directly at your top players, and Shabbat is obviously a guy they've missed for a large chunk of the season, and so him coming back, I think it's only it's only appropriate to understand that he's going to want to make an impact some way. As Adam Reckamp points on the chat, that you can find this game of an over total shots of 65. You're going to see a lot of shots in this game, right? And so where do they come from? Well, Ottawa has to find a way to generate, more offense from their forwards and especially their defense, especially if you're talking about guys missing out of the lineup. And you got to think that special teams is going to play a factor in this game too, because both teams have good power plays and both teams have bad penalty kills. So, it wouldn't surprise me if this is a game where you look at guys like Shabbat and Sanderson and Chychrun to chip in a little bit more offensively, because it sort of fits the bill of what to expect in the game with the offense.
Yeah, played 5 games since lengthy injury came back, posted 3, 5, 3, 2 shots in those games. So this is a defenseman who can put up 5 shots a game. I mean, some defensemen have that limit where you're like, okay, 3's, that's pretty much as high as you go. Shabbat's up there with Yossi, and I think, Yossi's not 3.5 anymore, but I like Shabbat here in this spot where both teams can just get a lot on, and the stink of underperforming will be ripe. We'll be ripe in the building. Let's get that one out there. So appreciate that. Again, all odds coming sports interaction here. Chicago, Winnipeg. Would love to. The 2.5's gone. We can't do that. We talked about it yesterday. The 2.5's gone. But in this situation, with Chicago being priced as arguably the worst team in hockey, obviously with San Jose.
I know
it's in San Jose.
San Jose says, hold my beer.
I think there's arguments on both sides on the talent-wise. Like, put these two teams together, Thomas Hertl is the best offensive player on both teams.
Yeah.
Right? Like, for high-end talent. So we're pivoting. We can, even the Chicago team total under flat 2 is like minus 170. The under 2.5 is minus 240. 1.5 plus money. Not that big of a risk for this situation. We've been banging the drum. We've been auto betting Winnipeg under 2.5, opponents under 2.5. It's been working out well. Winnipeg, 10 straight team total under 2.5 and 17-1 to the under 2.5 in their last 18. Half of those being 1.5, but Chicago obviously without Bedard and a first line. Watch out. They bumped up Rem Pitlick to the top line to play with Kurashev and Radish. And it's not a knock on Pitlick, but he wouldn't be a top line forward on any other team.
Yeah. Look, I mean, we've loved Winnipeg. They've been a very profitable bet to, especially the angle we find for the last 2-3 weeks for us. There's no reason to stop right now. I mean, if it loses, it loses, but there's a lot of advantages you have right now as to why it can continue winning. Chicago just lacks talent right now. Yeah. And the way Winnipeg plays defense, the type of goaltending they're getting, the type of game that they tell you to invest in to play against them, it's just it's cause for a bad matchup. And they played just 2 weeks ago. And remember that game, it went to overtime, or maybe I think it went to shootout, and Chicago won 2-1. And so, and that was a game I think that Winnipeg had over 40 plus shots on net. So
They got Peter Mrazek. Yeah, that was.
Yeah. So can we expect that Winnipeg, they probably have that in the back of their minds that they lost the last time they played against them and want some redemption? And they're coming off a shutout win against Columbus too. So I don't think the 1.5 doesn't scare me. I don't think it should scare anybody else. If anything, I'm willing to even sprinkle a little bit on the shutout here for Hellebuck and the Jets, because I just find it hard, unless the referees, give Chicago multiple power plays in this game. I just find it hard to believe that Chicago can try to find a way to muster any offense against the Winnipeg Jets team that's just been a juggernaut defensively.
Plus 375.
For the shutout?
Yeah, that's a wild.
That should be normal. Shutouts should be plus 900, plus 1,000. It's on most games.
That's what I mean. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that Columbus team total under 2.5 might have been the best line
that we
saw all year. There in the chat, Adam's talking about Cole Perfetti, and we're going to get to him. He also mentioned Matthew Joseph. Tough to find his props right now. Jumps up to that top line with Tkachuk and Norris, so there is something there with that. So let's get to Cole Perfetti, because we've bet a lot on this Winnipeg team. We've been betting on their props. We know this lineup pretty well. And one thing that we've kind of noticed of late is, and you bring on all your guys on your show, you bring in some of the best people in the industry to come talk about it, and they say the same thing. Winnipeg rolling 4 lines constantly, and nobody can match up 4 lines versus this team. And right now, Cole Perfetti is on a bit of a heater. In his first full year in hockey, he's really starting to fly under the radar as like a, 60-point guy. Like, he's on pace for 30 goals, which is kind of insane in his situation. But let's split up basically a unit. His shots over 2.5 at plus 130 for half a unit, and then a point to win half a unit at minus 128. The guy's got goals in 3 straight games. I think he's got 4 goals over there. Seeing a great price on the shot too, which is always important. Seeing that as low as plus 113. So 17 points, Sports Interaction, best price on the board. Lopsided game incoming, which has, we've talked about it before, maybe a little break for that top line. Second line centering, PP2, points in 8 of his last 11 and goals in 3 straight. He's 6-4 to the over in his last 10. And he's third on the team in shots on goal per 60. And that's one of my favorite things to look for. Guys who shoot a lot, but just don't get the minutes. If you can find spots where maybe their minutes bump up, then you're getting some value in their shots. And in a situation like this, where they could be up 3-0 early, we could be seeing more Perfetti than we do Velarde and Ehlers.
Yeah, I think, this is an angle that we're following game script, right? If we anticipate the game to go the way that we think it should go, it just provides more opportunity for these two things to hit. So I like where your mind's at.
Yeah, it's tough. I think Velarde had 0 shots the other game, and you saw kind of them sit back, get that lead, and shell up. But both sides, I'm happy to hit here. Fade Chicago and kind of dip into secondary scoring on this Winnipeg, and jump up to IDP Bomber, who's joined the chat. Good day, good day. So Cole Perfetti, Adam, we're on the same page there. That's the one I wanted to look at. So we got the Chicago, we got Perfetti. We jump over to Anaheim, Carolina, and this might be in this situation. This stinks of Alex Kerfoot-esque situation. Who else I know we fit another person in this situation for points.
Oh, it's the guy in Boston, Morgan Geekie.
Oh, Geekie, yes. Yeah. Geekie's won me.
I love it when you find these plays, because they're just so exciting, right? You get a guy that you find has been elevated in the lineup, getting a better opportunity to play the power play, and you're trying to, jump on the value that it's presented. And here you found one with Bunting. I guess for a Carolina team that has, over the last 2-3 weeks has found its identity on offense a little bit, right? And, I guess an Anaheim team right now, it's missing a defenseman because they traded away Drysdale. They just the team that they are.
Power play assist last night. It wasn't available to bet, but we did mention that he jumped up to PP.
Right. So I like where you're going with this angle for sure. Let's give me some Michael Bunting.
I know. So these situations are tough sometimes because some guys get elevated. If you're like a third line guy and you don't have a market and you're elevated to the second or first line, then you don't have a market immediately. But guys like Bunting, who are on the second line, playing on a team that's scoring a lot of goals right now, obviously in Carolina, obviously get last change versus a poor Anaheim team. Could be another situation like we see in Winnipeg, Chicago, where the middle guys get a little bump in time on ice. But a big part of this is him jumping up to PP1, playing net front on a power play. That's 40% since December 1st. That's not a small sample size, Carlo. That's like 19 games. Carolina is 13 for 25 on the power play in just its last 7 games. Then you go look at the matchup. You say, well, okay, Anaheim is a team that kind of sits in the middle of the table in terms of penalty killing percentage, but they take the most penalties per game as December 1st, more than a full penalty taken compared to the next team. So you're talking, but it makes sense, right? Like young team, undisciplined. So they're going to be in trouble. We're talking Bunting, who has 9 points in his last 11 games, including 6 on the power play. You just kind of got to play net front and let the boys snap it around and do your job in front. Like he doesn't
just touch the puck, right?
Yeah. Don't even
let it hit you in the ass or in the back of the leg or something like that.
Take a puck off a chin in the net for a plus 400 winner there. Seeing that as low as plus 350. So a great price here at Sports Interaction for the Bunting. And we've done it a couple times. Hopefully we can get it all done in one power play point there in a very solid matchup for Carolina. Get the early game. Let's go Bunting. On to Seattle, Washington. It's absolutely insane what Joey Decord's doing. And it is a situation where Washington, TJ Oshie comes back, but we've talked about that too, Carlo. Just because you come back, there is an assessment time for everything to get back. The lines have all changed. We're seeing lots of movement between the first, second, and third lines in Washington. Pacioretty's trying to find some situation with there. I think Kuznetsov drops down. Dylan Strome back up to the top line. So, when you see teams juggle things around, things aren't going well offensively, and that's what's happening with Washington. And now they got to face Joey Decord, who is 8-0-2 in his last 10, 1.38 goals against and a .957 save percentage. It's really good to see Seattle get some goaltending finally because they've been a great defensive team. They've never been a team that has a lot of high-end scoring talent. Now you got a guy who's actually playing well in net. This team can really shut things down. Reason why Seattle's 7-game winning streak allowed just 8 goals over that win streak, which is bananas. And Washington's still bottom 3 offense. So you think this is a spot where Washington has to juggle the lineups and still might have to find some time to get things right offensively.
They absolutely do. I mean, they're desperate times calls for desperate measures. I mean, they're in the thick of a playoff race within their division. They've fallen out a little bit right now, 4 points back. So, they like you touched on, they haven't been getting much offense. So it's up to them to try to juggle things around with what they have. The welcome appearance for Max Pacioretty has been a good one. It's been a great story to see him back playing hockey again. But let's not hide the obvious. This team struggles to score goals. And when you're Seattle and a team that's feeling it right now, it just seems like you can't do any wrong because they know they can trust the guy in net in Decord. And shout out to him, man. That guy's been incredible. He's actually saved Seattle's season because of how much they struggled early on in the season. And you're riding a trend right now. And I think with a lot of our plays so far the last 2 days, it's following a trend that's been consistent. And we've done it with Winnipeg, and there's no reason not to do it with Washington, and there's no reason not to follow it with Seattle.
Ovi, questionable.
Does that matter though? I mean,
what's that? Ovi not playing in this game would make me very happy with the Washington.
Well, yeah, team. Obviously, but I mean, he's had his own struggles this year, right? Yeah. So, him in or not, I think this is more about how good Seattle has been lately, and how Washington is still trying to find an identity for themselves.
Yeah, if Ovi sits out, you're looking at a top line of what's the rookie's name? LaPierre?
Lapierre,
yeah.
Yeah, Lapierre, I think it is.
I always want to slap on another syllable on there. And then Strome and Wilson on the top line. So there's a lot to like in that situation. And the boys in the chat excited about more power play props up in Carolina. Svechnikov plus 230 looks sexy too. The Svechnikov and Aho combo has been, for a guy who bets 2 points, two guys consistently, that's the best one in hockey. And I mean, they're, like Adam says, they've been off since Saturday, so a lot going right. And Zegras is on the shelf too, so could be all Carolina in this game. So let's hit Washington team total under 2.5 at very good plus money in that situation. And they're the Ducks. Seattle's playing so well that they're a road favorite in that game. So there's a lot to like in there. So let's get going. Leafs, Islanders. Minus 105. Whenever in doubt. Honestly, like I was trying to find something. It's another great shot on goal matchup. Toronto had 40 in their meeting on December 11th, the 4-3 overtime game. I forget who won it. It hit the over, but now we're seeing a total of 7. So implied lots of goals in this game. Matthews minus 105. Matthew Nyes might be out, so it could just be a top line of him and Marner.
Does it matter? I mean, at the end of the
that's
day,
what I mean. Like, it might even be more on him just to leave that line, right? Like,
I mean, this Leafs team is continuing to be led by the big guys up front. I mean, Matthews, Nylander, Marner got 2 last game. Tavares has been a little quiet on the score sheet, just scoring goals, but he's still been an effective player. I was at the game the other night, and Matthews, when he scored that goal, I said to myself, holy crap, how did he put that in? But that's just how good he feels right now. Everything he shoots, he feels like he's got a chance to go in.
Yeah, and if anybody jumps up to that line with him, I don't think they're out there taking shots away from him, right? They're going to be feeding 34. But it's a great matchup for goals. It's a great matchup for shots. It's a great matchup for the Toronto power play in that situation. Bottom 10 PK in the Islanders. They're getting a little healthier on the blue line. So these numbers that we've been fading them constantly might be kind of catching up. But New York is still 30th in expected goals against per 60 at 5-on-5. So they're still piss poor defensively at 5-on-5. PK's not good. And now Matthews with I think 13 in his last 13 and leads the league with 31. This is a spot where you take him. I think the buy point's minus 120.
Still good value. I know they're playing the Islanders and Sorokin, but they haven't been. I'm not sure if they got any other defensemen back either. I'd have to go do more research. But
one of the two, Pollock and Pollock. Which one? There's
Pellick and Pollock.
Yeah, one of those two is back. Yeah. But
okay, right on.
Big guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Doesn't make a difference though. You're riding a hot stick right now.
Yeah. Not overthinking that game. Toronto. Martin Jones looks like a Martin Jones game. I saw confirmed, but I heard you guys talking that it might not be today.
I think it's been confirmed. It's been confirmed that
confirmed, but I heard to mention that and obviously Samsonov came up and Hildeby just sitting there watching hockey. It's insane.
Hey, you got an all-star nod though. That's for sure.
Yeah, send him out that way. But they really insulated that guy. But a big slate here. A couple spots we like. We start off in Buffalo, Ottawa on the recap here, but JJ Peterka over 2.5 shots, minus 105 in the secondary role. Jeff Skinner might be out, and then maybe 26, 27, 28 minutes of Thomas Chabot have this closer to a 50-50 play on my end in a game that could easily see 70 shots. We jump over to Chicago, Winnipeg in a one-sided match where we see one side score and one side not, paying 120 here, getting 120, for Chicago under 1.5 goals. And then looking at the middle lines here in Winnipeg, Perfetti over 2.5 shots, plus 130, a great price. Probably buy point there is like plus 110. And then minus 128 for his points, seeing that as short as minus 135, splitting the unit up there. And then the bunting play. This one might be the most exciting. This one be the one that I'll be watching.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just hit him. Just hit him.
I love the PP point plus 400. Love it.
Just clap him in right in the knee to go straight in. We'll take it. Looking for one power play point to cash both, but hopefully a good night for Bunting, who joins one of the best power play units on that top line. Washington team total under 2.5 plus 115. They're a home dog. Joey Decord is absolutely unstoppable. And then obviously a little Leafs action. Are you on the Leafs panel today?
I am. Yes.
Woo!
Yes. The beautician rankings just went up a couple notches. Yeah.
For sure. Going from Montreal to Montreal to Toronto games. But no, good on you. That's awesome. Figure it out.
Yeah, thanks, pal.
That game. And that's our slate today. Happy birthday to a special lady out there too.
Thanks, buddy.
Happy 40th. So let's do that. Let's bounce back. Let's get something going.
Let's win some money so you can pay for the birthday gifts that I bought her.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Well, yes, here's your gift. Happy 40th, babe. Paid for by Michael Bunting power play points. All right, pal. Always
okay, buddy.
All right.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. This is NHL Puck Prop brought to you by Sports Interaction. We'll see you back here tomorrow, 10 a.m.
Ciao.